The world moves for those who just never give up. The world will move for those who persist forever.
How many diets does it take to get down to where you'd like to be at? Just one. The one you stick with. How many times you have to reorganize your office, your desk, your approach to your business, your profession, your career, before you begin to see some of the results you'd like to see? Just one. The one you commit to and discipline yourself to stick with.
So if you want to make real progress, then you really got to look at your life in a different way. You got to say, I got to take control of this process and not just hope it's going to work out. When you resolve, this is how it's going to be, that's when you cut off any possibility except the thing you've committed to. If you want to take the island, you burn the boats. Because when you burn those boats, there's no going back. You're going to find a way to make things work.
It's the obsessed guys, the people that were just like, this is my fucking life. This is what I do. I'm gonna do this. Those are the ones that do it. The no safety net people are the ones that made it.
If I have a plan B, I'm not gonna try that hard. Nah, that. It's only this. No matter if I'm rich or poor, whatever the circumstances, this is what I'm doing. I don't give a fuck what the outcome is. It's gonna fucking happen. You just have to stick with it. The people who really stick with it and give it 110%, your time will come. It's however big or small it is, something will happen.
If you figure it out and keep improving and keep learning and learn from your mistakes and learn from your setbacks and keep trying to push and get better and improve. If you do all those things, as hopeless and helpless as it seems, if you continue to improve, you've got to get to a better place. You've got to get better, and one day you'll be undeniable.
Dreams don't happen on couches, and they don't happen in bed. If you're going to realize that dream, you got to go out into the world. You got to meet a new you. You got to go through obstacles and barriers to where it's like, it doesn't even bother me anymore. We have more information available to us today than at any time in the history of the world. You got too much information and not enough action. You got to go get it. Most people starve between the idea and the execution. You take so long to get to execution. If you know you can do more, if you know you can help, if you know you can make a difference, then you have to do more. I want to get the deal done. I want to make my kids proud of me. Pay the price today so you can pay any price in the future. Pay the price now. Pay the price. Learn to do that, and you can make any dream a reality.
Hey, sugar. Man, good afternoon, everybody. I wanted to share that with you, hopefully to give you some insight into the right frame of mind that we need to be into as we continue to move forward in this journey, right? And as I start all of our calls, I like to always say, hey, NSA, right? To let you guys know that I am not a financial advisor. I'm not here to give you financial advice as to how to invest your money. I'm just simply here to give you some insight, right, based on my experiences, based on my 52-week journey, to hopefully give you some guidance so you don't make some of the same mistakes that I did in the beginning. All right. So I'm hoping that that video also put you in the right frame of mind to let you know that we're in this thing to not take losses, but simply to learn lessons, right? And as long as you continue to remind yourself of that, then no matter what happens in the market, right? And that's going to be one of the things that we're going to talk about today that I'm going to point out. It doesn't matter what happens in the market. As long as you're in the right frame of mind, guys, you're going to always win, right? You're going to fail your way into success, right? Fail your way forward. And that's the mindset that I want you to be in, because some of the things that I'm going to talk about this evening or this afternoon is going to be mind-blowing. And so I wanted you to be in that right frame of mind before I dive right in. All right, so as I start all of our calls with our daily affirmation, I am so thankful and grateful now that I have confidence, patience, and discipline so that I am a master trader. And I welcome you all to this call. It is the Harmonic Scanner 52 Weeks to Freedom course, class number 9. And I am excited to share with you what we have in store. All right. Now, I want to touch base on something that I'm going to just step outside of class because it's something that happened that I want us to pay attention to. And then I'll go back to what we were originally going to talk about. All right. So we're just going to jump right on out of the places as to where we are. Let's go right into the charts. Okay. All right. Check this out, guys. Right. Last week, was anybody watching GBP Frank at all? And you know, guys, you guys can unmute your lines. You don't have to be shy. This is a conversation, not no lecture. If you weren't, don't worry about it, but it's something that I want to point out to y'all if you didn't notice with this particular pair. All right. So check it out. Last week, I started seeing that this pair was consolidating. Everybody can see how it consolidated basically from the 9th all the way up until today. Everybody sees that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. And you notice that it started doing it as it started coming into contact with the 50 line. And as soon as it made contact with it, it's just been running along with it. Everybody sees that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Now check it out. I want to show y'all something. Hold on. The funny thing is, guys, is look on the, here, let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, I'm just going to show it to y'all, right? All right, because we all family, right? We all family? Okay, check it out. Everybody can see my screen?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. So look, if you notice, it let me know that I placed the trade on the 9th. Everybody sees that?
Yes.
We do.
Right? And I have been running that trade since the 9th, correct? As a sell. GBP Frank. Everybody sees that, right?
Yep.
You also see my entry price, 1.20343. And everybody notices my take profit is about 30 pips, right?
Right.
Check it out. Let me see if it'll show y'all. It should. No, it won't because it's not running. All right, check it. So look, if you notice in this candle, the one that closed, right when the market closed, this large candle, when it actually broke out, which was on Friday, everybody sees that?
Yeah.
Right? Everybody sees where my entry is?
Yes.
Everybody sees where my take profit is?
Absolutely.
But does everybody see that on Friday that they opened up the spread and the spread jumped up to 31 pips? So although the market had moved and actually whipped my take profit, that when the market closed, I'm still 4, almost 5 pips in the hole.
Oh my gosh. Yes. What?
That happened to me too. And I hit them up. They call slippage.
Right? Like, if you can't see how what I've been showing y'all over the last few weeks with the opening of the spreads and then manipulating the market and why you have to be paying attention and have confidence, because I've been in this trade how many days now? and it did exactly what I thought it was going to do. But I did not know that they were going to manipulate the spread. And although I already hit take profit, technically I'm still in the trade because the spread ate up my profit. Does everybody see that?
Wow, yes.
Yes. Wow.
So I'm sitting here hoping, wishing, and praying, waiting to find out what's going to happen when the market opens back up. Is it going to continue to push to the downside? Is the spread going to reduce and go back to some sense of normalcy so that I can assume some sense of profit? Is it even going to continue to hit my take profit at this point? Is it going to pull back? Right? This is the reason why you guys need to be aware of these unforeseen circumstances, right? Because technically, this is a winning trade. But I'm $30 in the hole because of the spread. And if you notice, I got charged for those 2 days worth of swap in addition to my commission. Does everybody see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
So they hitting me coming and going, guys. Y'all better pay attention. All right. That's what I wanted to show y'all. Because even though technically we're moving in the right direction, right? It's doing what we think it's going to do. It actually did the 30 pip move already. But because of the spread, I have not taken profit yet. All right? I wanted y'all to see that before the market opened back up, which was the reason why I decided to do the class now, so that you could see it in real life, what it is that we've been learning over the last few weeks. All right? Game changing. All right, back to class. Class 9. All right, now, last week, if you remember at the end of class, there was a signal that came in on UJ, and we were taking a look at it, and the signal was setting up for a potential buy. Does anyone remember that?
I do.
All right, we're going to take a look at it because I want to show y'all exactly what happened and what we can learn from going back and taking a look at why our analysis was either correct or needed to be modified. And we're going to address some of these questions as we go over the charts. All right, so check it out. Oh, I don't want that. Okay. Everybody sees UJ, right? Okay, let's see. Matter of fact, let's do this so I can show y'all exactly what happened last week. That's a nice little run. If it keeps running, it's almost 50. What does it do on the 4 hour? I wonder if it reverses. If it goes back to the 50 on the 4 hour, that's a little over 200 pips. Once it
I saw that. I'm not trying to be greedy.
Yeah, once it reverses. Once this cross happens, it's going to start going pushing back up. And look, the RSI is already pointing up. 107. What is that? And look, that candle on the 4 hour just turned blue. Right, look, it's fighting between blue and red.
Yep. I'm in and in profit.
Yep. It's coming up as well, like 3. Yeah, UJ gonna run for a while. All right, so everybody sees that, right? we got basically an entry. We talking, I'm talking, we looking at the different time frames, right? We determining which direction UJ is gonna go in. And during this time frame, at any point in time, anybody could have decided to market execution in a buy, right? Because that's what the strategy calls for, right? So that's what we would have been looking to happen. So if you would have gotten in at let's just say 107, what is that, 320? Is that what y'all see? I think that's what that says.
Yes, I can see that.
All right, okay, so 107, 320, right? 107, 320. And what date was that? That was, what date was that, y'all? The first? I think, yep, it was the first. All right, because that was our class, right? It was the first, and that was what time? 7, almost 8 o'clock. So about right in here, right? Right up in, nope, that's the second. The first. Right in there. Let's put a horizontal line on it, or a vertical line on it, right? What was that? The first, right up in there, right? All right, let's just mark this thing up, because y'all got to see this. Is this how we learn from what we've already done? All right, and if we remember, based on the video, there was what, 2 candles there, I guess? Yeah, it was on the second candle after the cross, right? Which was this candle right here, which is, right, getting ready to come into the 20. All right, everybody understand that? Everybody see that? Why I'm marking it up there? Yeah, I should have. All right, now if we draw a horizontal line at that price, 107, what was that? 2 what? It was like 2 something, wasn't it? It's like right in there. 320, that's what it was, wasn't it? Let's just say right there, right? Safe to say, let's just say the market execution popped you in right there. Everybody in agreement, it got popped in right here at this cross, right? Everybody sees that? It was a clear indication that it was going up. The RSI said up, MACD said up, right? Everybody agreed we was going in a buy, right? All right. So that was the entry. Let's do it. Here, let's do it. We'll even mark it up so we can say we know that that was Shavatek's entry, right? Oh, let's put it on the side. Instead of the center, we'll put it on the right. And let's put it in black so we can see it. Okay, so that was our entry, right? Let's just say we mark this up for our stop loss. And our stop loss is going to take us down about 30, right? We say about 30 pips. Which is about right there, right? We'll say 30 pip stop. Oops, no, don't want that. Right? So that's the 30 pip stop. Look, and it tried to wick you. Depending on where you got in at, you might have even got stopped out on the 30 pip. Everybody sees that. With the entry here. If you notice, it went up 25, almost 26 pips before it actually started pulling back, right? To try and stop you out, which was what? A fake out, right? Making people think, oh, it's going to reverse and continue to the downside, right? which is the reason why we tell you there are times when you need to have a 50 pip stop loss. Which would have been more like there. Right? That would have been more like 50 pip. Right? Which you clearly would have been able to be in a safe zone with a 50 pip, would have seriously cleared it. But then look at how important the entry is, guys, which is what we need to pay the most important attention to. Let's make it gold. No, let's make it stand out. Purple, right? Check it out. The entry was here when we originally got the signal, right? But if you notice, it basically consolidated right here on this entry for many hours. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. On the 14th hour, right here, on the large engulfing, there was another cross that took place. Everybody see it? So even if you got in here and had a 30 pip stop loss, and let's just say your broker ended up holding you in consolidation and then wicked you out, right? That same entry was a perfect entry. Continuing the run to the upside like we originally said, it just had to break the 50. And once it broke the 50 on this candle, right? You see it, which was almost a whole day later. Same entry, almost a day later, and it went up 212 pips over 3 days and 16 hours. Does everybody see that? So I say that to say, even though we got it called back here, and it stopped some of us out here, it was still a valid signal because it got recalled here, which was another opportunity for you to be able to make that 30 pips back. It also lets you know that when we originally called it, it only gave you, if you remember, 26 pips. And we know one of our rules is, if the market isn't going to give us the full amount of pips that we're anticipating, then, and we see that it's starting to turn around, take the bag and run. Who wouldn't want to take 26 pips as opposed to being greedy, trying to sit around and wait for 30 pips? Now you lost the 26 here. It stopped you out here. Now you got your emotions all out of whack and you missed this move for the 200 pips. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Patience, discipline, confidence, right? You had to be confident in the analysis to get in the trade back here when we originally called it. You also had to be confident if it wicked you out, knowing that was nothing more than your broker and the market makers making up for their losses before they continue to the upside, which is basically them collecting orders. There were orders down here, buy orders that they needed to fill before they could continue to push to the upside. which is the reason why they pulled back and then shot up. It was like a slingshot. Does everybody see that?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So don't be faked out by situations like this. This is where emotional intelligence comes in, right? If you look at it on the 4 hour, look at it on the 4 hour. That's perfect, right? We saw it here, which on the 4 hour, it was still in the downward trend, wasn't it? Which if we would have been really looking at the 4 hour, we could have just saved the hassle and just waited until it crossed on the 4 hour, which is where that second entry came. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
So it also teaches us that the lower time frames, like I've said repeatedly, are going to set up before the higher time frame. Does everybody see that? Because we had to wait how many hours? This is a 4 hour candle. 4 hour, 4 hour, 4 hour. 16, almost 24 hours before the move actually did the run. We just got the alert early, guys. Look at that. That's perfect. At the height, even if you ran it all the way to the cross and just was like, oh, I'm going to put this in, let it go from cross to cross. When the cross happens again, let me know and I'm going to get out. Look at that. And look what it's doing right now. It consolidated, it crossed, and it dropped. It's retesting the 50, and look, you can see it's finishing the sale on the 4 hour, basically doing the move again. So what did it do? It broke the 50 on the 4 hour. Look, it's retesting the 50 on the 4 hour, and look what's happening. We're waiting for the cross to happen going up. Right? It's just putting all of the things together, guys. Like I said in the beginning, it's like building blocks. It's like Legos. You know how when you had Legos when you was a kid, you started off with all of the different size pieces. You didn't know what pieces went with what. But at the end of the day, it really didn't matter because all of the pieces was going to go or fit together based on what your imagination was going to allow you to see. And it's the same thing with this. You just putting it together so that you can see it. But look how clear this is. Look. It dropped. It pulled up a little. It dropped. Now it's pulling up. Right? Consolidated. Now it's retesting. If it breaks the 50, it's going to continue to the downside. But it's a good possibility it's going to continue to the upside because that's what it's been doing. But then that's when we got to start looking at the correlations of the other pairs, right? We know we need to be looking at the dollar and what's happening with that. Which direction is the dollar going to go in? Right? And look what's happening with the dollar. The dollar almost looks identical to UJ. Does it not?
Absolutely. Wow. Look at that.
It dropped. It pulled up. It pulled back. It shot up. It pulled back. Right? It consolidated. Now the dollar has broken the 50. It might actually pull up and retest the 50 before it continues down, which is still an indication that it's going to go up, right? That's how we start pulling this thing together. Right? So some of the questions we had was how many pips? Well, we talked about that, right? You could have made the 26 pips when the alert first came out. If you weren't greedy, you wouldn't have lost that trade, right? Because you could have trail stopped it and made sure that it didn't kick you out. Then you could have waited for the next alert, or you could have had a large enough stop loss, right? Or depending on your broker, right? You possibly could have looked up and not been wicked out and continued up the run. But either way, that potentially was 2 opportunities to catch 212 pips, right? We took a look at that 15-minute, that hour, that 4-hour, right? And how those correlations go together, right? Let's take a look at that weekly, just because it's important. You got to know which direction these things are going in. And look at the weekly, right? Here, let's clear it. I can always add them back, y'all. Right? And look at the weekly. And this was last week, or this week that just ended on the 6th. It's pulling up. And that's on the Hakanashis. Now look, on the Japanese candlesticks, it's a small little red doji. Right? But look, it's running with that 50 on the weekly. Look at that. This is all of this, you know, panic. And the volatility in the market in the last couple of weeks, dealing with everything with us being on quarantine and things like that. Look at that. Large pip counts. Large drops. Look. The week of March 9th, it basically hit its floor, right? It came all the way down there. Let's just see. I wonder why it went all the way down there. That's why it went all the way down there. Y'all see it? Is that a touch? Look at that. It broke right here. That's why it's important to go back in time and look and see what's happening. Look at that. It broke right there. It retested. It shot up. Came back, retested. So what's that? 1, 2, look, 3. Right? So is this pushing up before it comes back to retest it again and then break through it? What do y'all think? Because what is that? And look, check that out. When it originally broke through that price right there, that zone, that was back in 2013, guys. Where this dotted line is, that's 2013. Look. It tested this zone. It came back to this area. When was the last time it was here? In 2016. November 7, 2016. Everybody sees it? It wicks it. Look. The last time it wicked it was November 7th, 2016. And it has not been back to that price until March 9th, 2020. Does everybody see that?
Yep.
Yep. So it's important to make note of that area for this pair, right? Because we know that that is a floor. And we know based on the number of touches that we've seen, based on our studies, that if it gets to the 4th touch, it's going to break through it. Correct? So I would be paying attention. And if you notice, look, it wicked it and then it pulled all the way back up to the 50. and it's riding with that 50. If it breaks the 50, it's going to continue to the upside. If it doesn't, it's going to push back down here towards this direction to try and push through this zone. Let's just see. What is it looking like? Look, the red is on top. The red is on top. But it's in this street because it's consolidating with the 50. Everybody sees it. And this is on a weekly chart. This is weak. Right? And just look at that one candle. Think about that. This one candle from the top of that wick all the way down was 730 pips. And that was 1 week on this one pair. Well, 750, 760 pips. But still, 760 pips in 1 week. Come on, guys. Like, and all we looking for is 30 pips a day? Right? 65 trades, 13 weeks, 150 to 1.2 million. You can't tell me it can't be done. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that you can't become a master trader, a profitable trader, a full-time trader, one walk away from your job, no more 9 to 5, right? You can't tell me you can't do that if you learn how to do this. You can do that on one pair. In the last 8 weeks, I've showed you how to do it on 4 or 5 pairs at the exact same time. So if you're catching on 30 on one, you're catching on 30 on another, you're catching 30 on another, you're catching 30 on another, that's 120 pips. That speeds up your process, right? Chad always say success loves speed. Right? We just sped it up. That cut your trading plan, what? In half? In a fourth? Doing 4 times as many trades as you would be doing in one time. Just by learning the things that we've been talking about over these last few weeks. And just adding them to what you've already learned. I'm not saying replace what you know. I'm saying just add it to it. It's just extra information to give you insight on how you should be looking at this. Or at least giving you a new way to look at it. Right? They're just paying attention to these things, guys. That's all. What was one of the other questions that we had? Oh, let's see. I don't know if it's on the scanner. Was it on the scanner? I don't even know. I don't remember if it was on the scanner or not. Let's see.
31 cents. How much is a dime? How much is a dime?
Let's see if it's on there or was on there.
Remember, how much is a penny?
1 cent. But that's really what it is, guys. On Saturdays or whenever you have free time between when the market closes and when the market opens, making sure you're looking at your ATR so you know how many pips each pair is giving out on average typically, so that you know once you figure out which direction the pair is going to go in, right, for that week. So if we figure out that UJ is moving to the upside for the entire week, because we can see that on the weekly chart, then why not go ahead and start looking for setups that are moving in that same direction of the trend? So if it's moving in a buy on a weekly, then we're looking for a buy setup so that we can have our perfect entry. And then once we have our perfect entry, then we ride the wave. Oh, these are old signals. Oh, but look, check it out. This is UJ on the 4-hour. And it's actually calling for a buy, isn't it? And look, It continued to the downside. So that means that that downward trend wasn't done. UJ. Let's go back to it. UJ. Not that. UJ. That was a trader's way. Yeah.
Okay, now look, this is cupcake.
All right, so check it out. Look. Yep, so that's what it was. Look.
What's this?
The D got called back here. But the source clearly told us that it wasn't ready yet. Even though our entry was right here. Right? And look, it hit the stop loss and it kept on falling, kept on falling, kept on falling. Right? Until it came back and crossed. Right? Then it pulled up. Then it pulled back down because it wasn't finished going down. Once it finally exhausted itself right about here, which everybody can see on the MACD told us that even though it crossed here, it still wasn't quite ready because look, it was still running too close together. There was no mouth of money. It was still playing in the street. Right? Look. Here's a cross pulling down. Now look, it consolidated. Look at that MACD. The MACD is consolidated the whole way through. It's running this whole way through, still pulling down. And then if you notice, it wasn't until about right here. Where the upward trend started to pull back. Right? You got the alert. Look at the large engulfing. That was another sign. That's where the candlestick patterns come in and learning those reversal candlesticks. That large engulfing was another indication. Right? The blue is on top. The blue is on top. The blue is on top. That was the entry. Right? That was on the second. That's where that second entry came in, guys. Right? That was the second entry. That was actually the perfect entry on the 4 hour. And look, it pulled all the way up. It broke the 50 right here, with another large engulfing candle. Right? Look, it actually broke the stop loss. Right? It tested the entry, consolidated on the entry, pulled down, retested the entry, pulled down, right? Pulled back, retested the entry, pulled down, pulled back, retested the entry. How many times did it retest the entry? And then look, it shot back down, which was a whole nother potential sell, right? Because look, it's a setup. Red's on top, it's under the street, MACD's on top, but look, that 50's right there. And what happened? As soon as it hit that 50, it stopped it, and it's been consolidating on the stop loss ever since. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
So now, based on what the harmonic scanner says, right? And this is why we're going to use the scanner, why we should be using the scanner, because it's another confirmation, right? It's our training wheels to trading. It's our way to learn from the experts, right? We already know this thing without the sauce, without any indicators, just defaulted is already 88% accurate, meaning you're going to win 8 out of 10 trades just copying and pasting the numbers and going about your business. But if you add a little bit of analysis, add a couple indicators like the Milwaukee sauce, it's going to perfect your entry, right? Minimize your risk and your loss and make you more confident as a trader. So all we're waiting for on you, Jay, at this point on the 4 hour chart is to actually do the move that the scanner already said that it's going to do. When the blue cross is on top pointing to the upside, when the RSI pushes out and now is on the buy side, and the MACD crosses so that the blue is on top pushing upward because we're already above the 50, right? It should push us all the way up from our stop loss. If it goes just to take profit 1 at this point, that's 151 pips. All right? From stop loss to take profit 1. If you go up to take profit 2, now you're talking about 222 pips, 223 pips. If it continues to push up all the way to take profit 3, now you're talking about 328, 29, 330 pips, right? And we've been making money off of UJ since the previous week, 2 weeks ago. So all we've been doing is just catching UJ up and down and up and down. And really, we've been just riding this wave up because we saw the entry for the up. And we know that UJ is going to continue to climb. So as long as we can find an entry on UJ that's going to push us to the upside, we just ride the wave until we can't ride that wave no more. So I'm hoping that this class is going to be another one of those classes that if you didn't catch your aha moment during the class, that when you go back and watch it again and really start marking up your charts and thinking about how you're starting to put all of these pieces together, that you're going to have that epiphany, the aha moment. And then all it's going to take, guys, is practice. Because the more practice you put in, the more confident you become. And then it doesn't matter win or lose, you still already won because you know the information. You know how to get back. It don't matter if the market hits your stop loss. Okay, you trade to live another day. I lose 30 this hour, but I gain 200 the next hour. That's 170 pip gain. Still a win-win. You just got to be in the right frame of mind to get there. Because you got to believe that you deserve this type of success. You got to believe that you deserve this type of wealth. You got to believe that you can achieve this. Because if you don't believe it, it's not going to come to you. I don't care how perfect your analysis is. You're going to second guess yourself. You're going to sabotage your analysis, and you're going to lose a lot of money. And it's not because you don't know the skill set, because remember, this is 10% skill set. This is 90% mindset, which means the battle really is already won if you can overcome your own inner demons. You got to know, you got to struggle with being greedy or selfish, right? Those are personal struggles. You got to sacrifice your time. You got to dedicate the hours, right? Nobody can do those things for you. That's why most people fail. It's not because trading doesn't work. It's not because you can't make money in the Forex market. It's because they give up on themselves, and as a result, they just don't put in any effort. If you don't put in no effort, faith without works is dead. Sorry to be the one to tell you. You can't sit up and wish and pray and hope this thing gonna come to you and you just gonna accumulate a whole lot of money, because it's not. That ain't how this works. It's not a get rich quick scheme. All it is learning some information, applying the information, because to learn it and not apply it is not gonna do you no good. You got to take the trade. You got to do the analysis. And if you lose, oh well. Live to trade another day. All right, guys, we're coming up on about an hour. I wanted to make sure I at least gave y'all some value so that it can help you continue on with your journey, right? Now, since we've gotten into all of that, and we got a few minutes left before the call is over, I want to go over the trading plan to make sure that everybody is on the right track. All right. Okay. So when we first started this thing, this is our trading plan for the first 31 trades or 31 days, depending on how you want to look at it. All right. And in our first class, I went over exactly how it is that you're supposed to read this thing, develop what it is that is your personal goal so that you can determine what your PIP goal is going to be each week, so that you can determine what it's going to take for you to accomplish your goals, right? Because this is all a personal journey. All right. Now, if you've been moving forward with me thus far, then it's safe to say that you should have been practicing over the last 8 weeks, and at this point have been able to accumulate at least a $500 account, whether it be from the $100 or not. All right, now, if you have a $500 account, then here is the next piece of our trading plan. And if you start with $500 and you grow that account at 10% each trade, right? Taking into consideration your spread, your swap, right? The fluctuations, time frames, and all of those things. And you hit your daily profit goal. In 31 trades or 31 days, you will go from $500 to $9,597.17. Now, if you remember with our original trading plan, we were going from $100 to about $1,900. If that's the case and you actually successfully completed that plan, then there was nothing stopping you from taking what? $1,500, $1,400 out and leaving a $500 trading plan. So you went from $100 to $1,400, right, in 30 days. Where they do that at? Right? Now, if you complete this trading plan, you're going to go from $500 to almost $10,000. That's basically, look at the balance. You go from $500 to $9,500, that's a $9,000 profit in 30 days. Ain't no 9 to 5 going to give you that. Ain't no stock market going to give you that if you traditionally trade on it. Not no 30 days. All right. Now, if you were successful enough and you completed that plan and you decided, well, hey, look, I went from $100 to $1,900. I might as well leave that $1,000 in there, take me that $900, treat myself with the $900, right? Invest in myself with that G. And now you start with $1,000. You take that $1,000 in 31 trades, you go on to $19,194.34. Game time. You take $1,000 and you double it up to almost 20 G's in 30 days, 31 days. Faster than that, depending on how many trades you can place and how many times you can hit take profit. That might be 15 days. That might be 10 days. That might be a week, depending on how many pips you catch on your pair. Whether you basket trade 3 or 4 pairs at the exact same time. As long as you hitting your daily profit goal, right? That's all that matters. And this is nothing but practice, guys. This is practice money. We ain't even got to the real money yet. This is just to get you in the right frame of mind, right? To get you practicing the skill set so that when you actually do attempt our trading plan to go from $150 to $1.2 million in 13 weeks, that you believe that you can achieve that goal. Because guys, If you can take $100 account and turn it into $1,900 in demo, you can do that in a live account. If you can take $1,000 account in demo and turn it into $20,000, you can do that in live. So if you can take $150 account and turn it into 1.2 million in demo, then why wouldn't you be able to do it in live? So the goal is to get you in the right frame of mind so that you can accomplish the goal. Because I know that you can do this. You got to believe that you can do this. And once you do, your life will never be the same. There's no going back. It's already done. You aren't the same person you were last year, last week, last month. Hell, before you got on this call. Right? But we're going to hold on to each other and we're going to make sure that we all get through this together. Because your success is our success and our success is your success because it's one band, one sound, and we all in this together. So I hope you guys were able to screenshot the trading plan so that they could be shared in the study groups. And I'll share them as well. And as always, the calls are recorded to make sure that those that were unable to be on the call are able to make up for it later. So our next steps is just keep working on your ATR, guys, watching for those trends and those patterns, looking for the reversals, looking for the trends on the weekly chart so that you know which direction your pair is moving in for the entire week, right? Then start studying your assigned pairs, studying that Milwaukee sauce, practice it, follow your trading plan, right? Make sure that you actually get it completed. It don't hurt. Like I said, we're not here to take losses. We only here to learn lessons. We gonna fail our way all the way through, right? It's like Albert Einstein. I think it was like, who was it? Somebody. I mean, just think about all the greats. It don't even matter. Like, there's so many examples of people that failed, and all their stories is about how they had such a rough life and they had so many challenges and obstacles that stood in their way. And all they had to do was keep on pushing. And as long as they didn't give up and they continued to strive and drive and commit themselves to being a better version of themselves, invest in a better you, then hey, you're going to fulfill all of what your purpose is. So just looking for setups, sharing them with your study groups, because the setups is what's going to let you know whether or not you're actually learning this thing. And then staying plugged in with your study groups. Ask for help. And if you find yourself being the one that, hey, the light bulb didn't went off and you got it, then start posting stuff in them study groups, because guess what, guys? We all are inspiration and motivation to each other. So if we see one being successful, then it helps to inspire us to know that we can do it too. Don't be scared, right? And then just start staying vocal, right? Staying plugged into these classes and making sure that as you're talking to people, letting them know all of the amazing things that we learning in the 52 weeks and how powerful this information is, and how if they truly want to be a master trader, then they need to be on these Wednesday calls. All right, guys. I thank you all. I appreciate you all. And I love you. And I will see you guys next week. Good night, guys.
Thank you.
Good night, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.